I was led to my work because I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it was kind of a frightening illness to be diagnosed with, and I couldn't find a lot of other people who lived with bipolar disorder or any mental illness. So it made me feel really helpless and hopeless and alone. So when I got well, I thought I want to be like really, really vocal. So when the next person's diagnosed with mental illness, they think, you know, we know there's this one guy, I mean, he's loud and he seems to be doing okay. When I was really sick, nobody was talking about it. I couldn't find anybody. And that's just not a good spot to be in. I don't know that there was really a turning point. I ended up in the emergency room because, you know, I was suicidal and I was delusional and I was depressed. And when I ended up in the emergency room, that got me admitted to the psychiatric hospital, and there I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So I suppose if there was a turning point, I didn't think that anything was wrong with me. I went to the hospital, and then I was diagnosed with mental illness where I felt like really, really sick and bad and hopeless. And when I was diagnosed, I honestly thought that I was going to have to live in a group home, that I was going to have to liquidate my assets, and that I would never be anything more than a ward of the state, or I just thought I needed taken care of because that was my understanding of what mental illness was. So I suppose that was a turning point, but then the next turning point was when I realized that all of that was just kind of BS, you know, it wasn't true. And then I was able to get the help that I needed, and you know, it took 4 years. From the time I was diagnosed to the time that I reached recovery was 4 years, and that was a long time. It was a long time to be sick, but you know, I did it, and now I just get to live my life, and it's, for the most part, a normal life. It's very weird that in this country we separate out mental health and physical health, because mental health is your brain, and what's more physical than your brain? But we do, and the big difference is how we relate to it. There's problems with healthcare all the way around. I'm not going to try to convince anybody that certain health is less scary or treated better or whatever, but in physical health, they can run a test and people tend to believe you. So if you say, I have cancer, they run a test and they're like, oh, you do, here's proof. Or you can see it. And people are like, oh, I can see it with my own eyes, so I believe that you are sick. With mental health, people are like, he might be lying. Maybe he's just a jerk. Maybe he's a bad person. Maybe he's lazy. There's no definitive test, and it's really quite invisible to most people. So there's just a lot of misunderstanding. And in the same vein of all of those misunderstandings, it's your mother's fault, it's your father's fault, it's your upbringing's fault, it's society's fault. If you just try harder, you'll be fine. Go for a walk, do yoga. Why are you down all the time? I mean, my God, if you just smile, you have no reason to be sad. You know, most people would love to be in your shoes and you're just crying. And you absorb that a lot.